Welcome back to Tabula Rasa. This is our comic book review. Based off of these 5 categories, I'm going to give it either a star, or if I really like it, a star plus. A combination of 5 stars or pluses means I recommend it. More than 5 just simply tells you how much I like the book. Do the YouTube thing, feed the algorithm, and here we go. So we are going to be reviewing Patriotika by Ron Z, art by Antipus, color by Candice Han, and cover by Elizabeth Torque. This is an interesting comic, and I don't mean that in a good way, and don't mean it in a bad way. It certainly isn't my speed, but that shouldn't really affect how I think this comic book fits into this print medium. It certainly seems to be on par for the course from the publisher Antarctic Press, who has published works like Kamen America and also the Tremendous Trump series, which I'm going to do a review on, and I could do without this one, to be honest. And at a glance, their library seems to be something like a knockoff version of better comics. But is there more to this than meets the eye? Is it more than just cheesecake candy goodness? Let's look at our first category, black and white or color. As an American comic, it is well colored. Kudos to Candice Han and Antipus. Detailed and consistent. It just works very well. It has expressions you want without going into the uncanny valley. The backgrounds aren't just blank spots in order to just be there, but help sets the tone. Overall, I really like this part, so star plus. Panels and expression. It has the rectangle panels, which I wouldn't like on the norm, but none of the pages are the same with the rectangle panels. It plays around with the space. In fact, it could just be the style of Antipus, and it works. No redundant blocky squares, and I think it was done well. But considering that I like a little bit more play in my panels, normally I would just give this a star. But that being said, it does frame the characters well, and we get the focus on the moments when we need to. So, star plus. Character and dialogue. The looks of the characters are great. We have people that don't look odd or out of place. It is consistent throughout the book. I must say it is something to be enjoyed as far as the looks go. The dialogue suffers from the pacing of the book. It is competent, but I'll explain a little bit more in the plot area. So, star, just because of the looks of the characters. Themes and execution. Clearly, with a title called Patriotika, it would have themes of patriotism, which is kind of there. We have empowerment themes too, and it isn't in your face as, let's say, Kamen America is, which is nice, but beyond that, there literally isn't much here. It is, however, the first issue, so I usually am more lenient when it comes to themes for the first issue. But I expect that the themes for this is as patchy as the plot, so I think half a star is enough. Plot and execution. The plot for this is very much jumpy. It is at a breakneck speed. We go from one event to another with little to no context. It very much relies on the audience knowing certain tropes of superhero comics to fill in the gaps, which means there isn't much for the plot besides, hey, good gal needs to defend the innocent from bad guys, so punch it. So not much there at all. In fact, I would say it has no plot, no build, which means all the pretty pictures are just that. Pretty pictures. So no stars on this category. Star plus, star and a half, a star, so 3.5 stars and 2 plus, or a total of 5.5 out of 10 if you want to go that way, which makes sense. The artwork is nice, and it is something I did enjoy. The rest is meh. This suffers greatly from the writing. Having a patriotic themed hero isn't a bad idea. After all, Marvel had Captain America since World War II, and Superman, for the longest time, stood for truth, justice, and the American way. So, patriotic themes do work and they can sell, but it has to have some substance to it. Captain America regularly had themes of what it means to be a patriot, especially if you disagree with the direction you think the country is going. It's always a nice avenue for that. Superman always had that ideal American farm boy attached to it. This has a pretty and buff Superwoman who changes the look of her costume because to let the American troops know that she's on their side. I don't know. So at this point, I've read a couple of books from Antarctic Press, from Kamen America and the Tremendous Trump books. And looking over their library on Comixology, not sponsored, I have to say I'm not impressed by it. As stated earlier, it just seems like they're a knockoff of better comics, like those B-rate Hollywood movies that clearly rip their ideas from bigger blockbusters. The art is usually good, I'm not going to dunk on that, credit to where credit is due. But there seems to be a trend that the story isn't the priority at all, which means the comic book suffers from that. There was once a comic strip vet, you can say. Well, not a vet, but someone who is experienced in the daily comic strip game, the kind that you see in newspapers. And he once said that you can get away with lousy art if you have a good story. But if you have a lousy story and good art, you won't last. And that's what Antarctic Press seems to be. Good art, though some are clearly banking on that manga style and lousy story. And maybe they'll put a bit more polish when it comes to their writing. Who knows? But if the current model is working for them, I don't expect them to change anytime soon. So get the book if you enjoy the art. If you are looking for a good story, this isn't it. 5.5 again, but that's just because the art is that good. I wouldn't really recommend buying it unless, again, you like the art. If you're here for the story, look someplace else. Thank you again for watching this far. Please feed the algorithm by doing the thing. I hope you're having a good day or good evening. Ciao, everybody.